Yes, it's a pleasure for me and a treat. I've very much liked Korean film and Korean directors for a long time. I haven't had the privilege of exploring the country, but it's just a thrill to be here.
First of all, I want to thank you all for being here today. It's such a privilege for me to be here and to see you all, and so thank you very much. I had a really warm welcome at the airport this morning, and it was wonderful to see all those people, and I just also want to just give them a shout out and thank them very much for being there. It was such a warm welcome and seeing their beautiful smiles after a very long journey. So thank you, I'm very honored. I mean, we both travel around a lot. I obviously travel in better fashion than he does. I love this character. He's like a Ronin, honestly, a modern day Ronin, someone who's very intelligent, very skilled, but he's someone who really, he lives by his own wits, and he goes from town to town. He's a classic character. I love playing him. I love the books. They're very suspenseful and interesting. I think that it has some interesting reflections of American culture, and it's just a lot of fun to play. Worked with Ed since we did Last Samurai, and it just never happened. So we've talked about things, throughout the years. And when he said, I said, "Look, would you ever be interested in directing Jack Reacher?" And I just think he's a brilliant filmmaker. I think the range of films that he has, his movies are always textual and emotional. They always have very interesting characters. And the stories I get deeply involved in. And he's also I just think he's a wonderful director. I love it how he directs me also. I mean, he's directed such brilliant movies. You look at Glory. I remember the first film that I saw you do, which was About Last Night, but, Blood Diamond, there's just one movie, Legends of the Fall. I can just go on and on, but, the work that this man has done.
Well, the reason that I did it is that when we had a first experience, it was so gratifying. It wasn't just the result, but the process was so much fun and so exciting. And I also feel that when you get to know an actor, you get to know them very well, but what you discover is there are many other parts of them that you haven't yet had a chance to express. And in order to find those places, you need to find another story. And I think in this story, we look for different parts. I think Tom was looking for other parts of himself as an actor to relate to this particular character. And so that was another pleasure.
Well, I've been producing films for many, many years, obviously, the whole Mission Impossible franchise since the 90s. And, we were co-producers on The Last Samurai together. It's just, producing is really, you're there to help, basically. I mean, the same way that, we're making a film, we want the film to be as great as possible, and every aspect of the film to be as great as possible. And so it's just a natural progression sometimes. So I'm here to really service, everyone. I do believe to lead is to serve. So that's what it's like producing. I mean, using all the knowledge that I have in terms of whether it's budgets or stories, and just to be there for every aspect from inception all the way until the film is released. Just do anything and everything I can to help out. And I think the films, I'm very interested in a wide range of movies. I always have been, and I've always challenged myself in different kinds of films, whether it's comedy, drama, action, and different kinds of action. I even had a lot of fun doing a musical, and so that's what I like. I like everyone else. I want a good story. I want to sit down and have a good story, and that's what I'm very excited about Jack Reacher. It's just a very involving story.
Well, when first we met Kobe, she had a broken leg, and it was obviously something we had to concern ourselves with, but we took her to be tested, and it was very clear that not only could she recover, but she was determined to recover. She had been an athlete in her life before, but she had never done any kind of fighting. When you get to know Kobe, we realize that I think probably there's not much that she can't do, and fighting is only the least of it. But in terms of the specifics, understand that Tom has done this now so many times with actresses in which he has invited them into his process and helped them reach a level that's extraordinary. He did it in Mission Impossible. He did it with Emily Blunt as well. And it's a very rigorous, very disciplined, and very well thought out process of training, of strength training, of choreography, of nutrition, of stamina. And every day they went into what Tom likes to call the pain cave for at least an hour before we would work and for several hours afterward to reach this extraordinary level of ability. Because remember, she doesn't only have to do it once, she has to do it again and again and again. And he's in extraordinary shape and she has to be at the same level as him, because if she isn't, she could get hurt. And it was remarkable.
And Ed wouldn't have gotten his shots, so it's really important, especially, with this kind of film or any film, just, I never want anyone to get injured, but also we're constantly pushing ourselves. And I think you all have seen enough movies and talked to enough actors to know physically what it takes, the demands. And it is very demanding. So she was impressive. And, the reason I do it is because they get excited about it. They want to do it. And I want to deliver for Ed, the director, and his vision of what he wants to create there.
It was Ed's idea. There was luckily there was a Halloween parade. So the Halloween parade was going on and our crew was shooting pieces at that Halloween parade. It was, okay, not yet. Well, it's kind of it's a really very unusual and amazing city. And the people of the city were very helpful in making.
For me, physically, it was, there were a couple moments. Obviously, one, punching through the glass. That was kind of tricky. I've never done that before, actually, punching through a real glass. There's certain things where, the physical aspects of that cage fight, that was quite intense. There were some moments where, we would do the whole fight in one take from different angles. So those things are always very challenging. Because there is a certain point when you're doing a fight, and particularly this kind of movie where you got to have a little bit of contact. So, I'm someone who I train very hard and I work with all of the actors and stunt people in the scene, and we train over and over and over again so that we can predict each other's movements. So I'm very careful. I don't want to hurt anyone. But so you want to, that's always very tricky. That cage fight was really tricky. I wear a leather jacket when I arrive. Do I wear a leather jacket every time? I didn't know that. I wasn't sure. Sometimes I wear leather jackets. A lot of times I wear them when I'm riding motorcycles. In America, I'm usually riding a motorcycle. I usually have my leather jacket with my helmet and my motorcycle, because I'm just racing to meetings or going around my motorcycle. That's kind of my favorite thing to do. One of my favorite things. I like flying airplanes and helicopters.